being escorted to a police car after her capture in 1988, serial killer Dorothea Puente told gathering reporters, "I used to be a very good person at one time." Silver-haired, dressed in a long red coat and wearing large rounded glasses, the 59-year-old resembled just a regular grandmother, proving looks truly can be deceiving. The reality, in fact, was that across a period of 10 years, Puente had meticulously murdered at least 7 tenants at the boarding lodge she ran in Sacramento, California. Exploiting her appearance of the sweet old lady, Puente would lure unsuspecting tenants to their grisly deaths by baking them cakes laced with sleeping pills. The grandmother would then sneak into the rooms of her incapacitated prey and smother them to death with a pillow. Dismembering their corpses, she threw their remains into a mass grave in her garden, telling neighbors the foul smell emanating from the ground was sewage and dead rats rather than dead residents. But 26 years after her conviction and 7 years after her death, a man who claims to Puente's grandson, William Harder, has stepped forward to reaffirm his grandmother's claim that she wasn't always bad. "We had a real connection," Harder told Vice. "I saw her as a human despite her crimes." The founder of Murder Auction, an auction house for serial killer memorabilia, Harder's macabre obsessions have also seen him befriend the likes of Charles Manson and Richard Ramirez. He says he's often inundated with requests from crazed fans and fellow murder enthusiasts who ask to buy his grandmother's ashes. However, Harder insists that's where he draws the line. Puente's heinous crimes were eventually discovered in 1988 when Alberto Montoya, a mentally disabled and schizophrenic tenant, was reported missing by a social worker. When police arrived at 1426 F Street, Puente told the cops Montoya was on vacation, but they noticed some undisturbed soil among a vegetable patch in a garden. Not yet considering the sweet lady to be a suspect, the officers obliged at the 59-year-old's request to go down the street to buy a cup of coffee, but she had no intention of returning. In her absence, investigators dug up the whole yard and discovered the body of 78-year-old Leona Carpenter. 6 more corpses would follow, but Puente was still on the run. Some of the bodies were mummified in cloth, bed sheets and duct tape. One was missing its hands, head, and feet. A human leg and a badly discompassed foot were dug up separately in another part of the yard. An extensive 5-day search for the elderly fugitive ended when a stranger she'd befriended in Los Angeles recognized her face from the news and turned her into police. Puente was charged for 7 murders, but her trial wouldn't begin for another 4 years. During the 1992 proceeding, investigators revealed that Puente, who was then 63, had been killing the tenants for money, making $4,000 a month from cashing their Social Security checks. Their dismembered bodies were then placed in holes in the garden she'd paid ex-convicts to dig. But the jury had a difficult time believing the matronly grandmother was capable of carrying out such menacing crimes. Executing Puente would be like executing your grandmother, one juror is reported to have said in response to the death sentence looming over the defendant at the time. More than 130 witnesses were called to the stand by the prosecution, and eventually the devilish landlady was convicted for 3 of the murderers and ordered to serve back-to-back life sentences. "Never judge a book by its cover," said retired police officer John Cabrera in 2018, the lead investigator on the case. "The contents might be what you'd never expected." Share this article. Share. Puente passed away in 2011 from natural causes at the Central California facility in Chicxulub, aged 82. Despite maintaining her innocence until the day she died, Puente has been immortalized as one of America's most notorious female serial